Welcome back to Tarot and Beyond. Today we are doing another pick an image reading, and this one is to discover what your soul journey is. So we're going to be taking a look at all of the ins and outs of your soul journey, going from the wisdom you gained from past lives to the potential outcome of your soul journey in this lifetime, where you're going, the destination, the state of being, and your mission status, if that is applicable. I'm going to be using a 10-card spread for each one of the readings that we'll be doing, so use the images before you to select which one you feel the most called to. Allow your intuition to guide you to the reading that holds the messages meant for your soul at this time, and use the timestamps linked in the description box or pinned in the comments below to jump ahead to your reading. Remember that these are general readings, so just take what messages resonate with you and leave the rest. Enjoy your readings. All right, hi, group number 1. If you chose the Galaxy Man image, that's what I've been calling him. If you chose the Galaxy Man image, welcome to your soul journey reading. So we're going to be doing a 10-card spread to start, and then we'll be selecting intuitively from some oracle decks that I've set aside for you to see what messages come through in regard to your soul journey. So the first thing we're going to start off with is the past life history. This is your lessons from past lives, and we'll be getting a card for that. So I'm actually going to do things a little differently today. Usually I would shuffle and either pull cards manually or wait for them to come out, but I'm going to do it a little differently today. So I'm just going to give this deck a shuffle. Oh, that's interesting. You had the World card and the Knight of Pentacles flipped over there. I think that was a message meant for you, group number 1. Okay. You also had the Page of Cups wanting to come out, but we're just going to put that back in and see what comes out for you when we pull the cards this way. Okay, so the first card is your past life history. Oh, there it is again. Page of Cups. Okay. The second card is your wisdom gained. You have the Eight of Pentacles. The third card is your soul gifts, which is the Lovers in reverse. The fourth card is your soul development. You have the Wheel of Fortune. The fifth card is the current phase, and you have the King of Wands. Sixth card is your spiritual mission with the Hermit. Seventh is the current alignment with your mission. You have the Hierophant. The eighth card is your current development. You have the Ace of Cups. Love that. Ninth is the future trajectory and timeline. You have Strength. And finally, we have the potential outcome or soul journey, the Moon. Group number 1, what I'm seeing here initially is that your past life history, being the Page of Cups, indicates that in your past lives up until this point, you may have been very sort of emotionally underdeveloped. I do feel a lot of heart-centered energy from you and a lot of psychic energy from your group as well. So this Page of Cups is not an immature energy, it's a young energy. So in your past, there was a level of innocence that really came from your heart-centered devotion and love for the world or for other people or just for life in general. And so that's what I'm seeing from the Page of Cups. So your past lives were very innocent. You were still learning and developing. You were still just gaining experience, but you were working with that energy of your emotions, with love, and with your psychic abilities as well. The wisdom gained from these past lives was here with the Eight of Pentacles, talking about you kind of having to repeat the same thing over and over again. So you may have had to go through many repeating karmic cycles in your past lives, and you may even still be repeating some of those now, but we'll look at that when we get into the more current stuff. So the Eight of Pentacles reversed is kind of saying to me that there was some stuff that you had to redo, you had to repeat some lessons, not because you failed them, but because that was what you needed to do to learn. You know, you needed exactly what you needed to be able to understand the lesson through the experience of it. And so that's what's going to help you to mature. It's kind of like different different grades in school is what they're showing me in my mind. So, you had to go through grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. And you've kind of been through many different years of school is what it feels like. Now, the soul gifts that you have being the lover's card in reverse, this really feels to me as though your primary gift is divine love. This may not apply directly to your soul type for every single person watching this video, but I do get the impression that one of your primary soul gifts is how you express love, and it could be even centered around relationships and how you operate within those relationships. So being romantic, platonic, anything like that basically puts you into relationship with other people, and specifically how you handle the relationship with yourself. So that could be a main theme in regard to your soul's gifts and your soul's learning trajectory as well. Next, we're looking at soul development with the Wheel of Fortune here. So the Wheel of Fortune is the fate energy. It's the turning of the wheel. It's also the ruler of time and luck and chance, and it also speaks of karma and cycles repeating, which we did see with your wisdom gained. So I do feel as though your soul development is very much governed by fate. There's a lot of it that's predestined, that you set up prior to going into these incarnational cycles and learning these lessons and applying these things based on your experience. So this is all kind of divine timing or in divine order is what I just heard in my head. So your soul's journey is very much predestined, and there are things that are most definitely set up beforehand to help you to evolve and to grow. Your current phase, being the King of Wands in reverse, this is a little bit of a challenge harnessing your power. I feel like there's a bit of a challenge stepping into leadership as well. So you may be called to be in a leadership position or to step into service on a more public scale, but you're having a hard time grappling with the maybe insecurity or the self-doubt that is preventing you from kind of putting yourself out there or being, a figurehead or being a teacher of some kind or somebody who shares their creative gift or their creative art as well, because the Page of Cups is a very heart-centered energy. This could also have to do with what you're creating. It doesn't always have to be so relationship focused, but it feels like you may have a hard time harnessing some of that energy. And if this is to do with relationships, then this could be having a hard time kind of stepping up into more of that directed, creative, or even passionate energy as it relates to relationships. So it may be blocked in some way. Your current phase might be challenging you to kind of figure out how to work with that more responsibly or how to step into that more confidently. That's what I really feel from you, group number one, is really your soul is kind of challenging you to step out of your comfort zone in a big way. And that may require you to step into a leadership position before you feel ready to do so. So let's take a look at the next card, which is your spiritual mission. And you have the Hermit in reverse here. So I do feel like your spiritual mission is to be public. It is to come out of the box. It is to kind of put yourself out there and to be a teacher or a healer or a creative of some kind. It could be something to do with, it feels like your main gift is really about love. And so if you have a message about love, or you have a creative project that's really centered or focused on love, or if you have experience working with relationships or working with dynamics within those things and understandings of that. So I'm not sure specifically what it is, and we'll get oracle cards to see if we can get some more clarity on these things. But the Hermit card reversed here it is more of an extroverted energy, and that, again, that's the challenge with the current phase that you're in right now, is to come out of your comfort zone. It's to put yourself out there, especially if you're an introvert. By nature, the Hermit in reverse is really challenging you to get out into the world. Maybe it's traveling, maybe it's meeting new people, maybe it is going on some kind of a sacred journey or a spiritual evolution out there, rather than just doing it at home or in some other zone that you feel more comfortable in. there are aspects of the soul that still are working towards development, but I do see that you have come a long way, especially since you came from kind of the Page of Cups in your past lives to the King of Wands in your present life. It is reversed, but it's still the King of Wands nonetheless. So even if you're not using that energy or tapping into it or really embracing it, it's still the King of Wands. So I do feel as though you've gone through some pretty major maturation and development over the course of several lifetimes, and your soul is kind of urging you to put yourself out there. But again, there's a little bit of resistance there to that. The next is current alignment with your mission, which is the Hierophant reversed here. So this speaks a little bit again of not necessarily stepping into your service or into your duty. You may be called into teaching, but you're not doing it. You may be called into leadership, but you're not doing it. You may feel like you're stuck in a line of work that you really don't enjoy, or that you are not reaching your full potential if you have stepped into your soul's mission. Like you might feel like you haven't really reached the height of your knowledge yet, and so maybe that's why you feel a little bit like an imposter in that position, or maybe you feel like you're not ready to start yet because you don't have all the knowledge you need. The Hierophant in reverse here, especially as it relates to your current alignment or your current development. Wait, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, sorry, your current alignment with your mission. This is a struggle to put yourself in a position that you feel confident to teach about what it is that you know at soul level. Now, you've been through these lessons, you've been through these things, you've really put in the effort here, and you've had to repeat some things. So you know what, you did learn these lessons. I feel like maybe some of the insecurity or the resistance to stepping into this role is possibly even because you did have a hard time with those karmic patterns. So for example, it's almost as though they're showing me like a kid in high school who failed a grade and had to repeat it because they didn't have enough electives, or they didn't pass the tests and they didn't have a high enough score, or whatever it was. And later on in life, they go back to school and they get a degree, and they start getting job offers for teaching positions, like professorships or whatever you call them. But because that person failed one course or 1 year in high school, there's a bit of a complex there around, failure or not being good enough or not having enough knowledge. And so it's not that you don't have the knowledge, it's not that you don't have the skill, it's just that you don't feel confident in it because there's a little bit of a wound around some of those perceived failures or some of those mistakes that were made in the past, or perceived mistakes. There's really no mistakes at soul level because everything is contributing to our development. So it really doesn't matter how long it takes either, or how many times it takes, because our souls are infinite. They're not finite like our human selves. So really there is no wrong way to do it. It's just like, are you developing? And if the answer is yes, even if it's in taking longer or going in a direction you didn't intend, you're still developing, you're still gaining experience, and that's what matters. It is a little bit of that complex of like, I don't feel safe to put myself out there. I don't feel like good enough on some level to be in that position. But you are. It's just the confidence level and the self-esteem that maybe needs a little bit of work here. Okay, so your current development around your lessons in healing. I love this. I love that you have the Ace of Cups. I love that it's coming up very centralized in your reading. The Ace of Cups is your self-healing, and we're asking in this card literally about the current development of your lessons in healing. So I do see that, again, you've really managed to move deeper into the heart. So even though there's some insecurity, even though there was some things that maybe didn't work in the past, you are able to forgive yourself for that. You are able to accept and understand why those things happened and grow from them. So giving yourself that love, nourishing yourself with that divine grace is what I just heard in my head, like divine grace to be able to keep moving through these things without getting held back by any of these past experiences is really what's helping you to continue to heal and eventually to step into these roles in the upright positions of the King of Wands, the Hermit, and the Hierophant, which is essentially, this would still be reversed, I guess, because it's about coming out rather than staying in, but it's about the wisdom, the communication, the leadership, the possibly even public speaking or teaching, especially with the Hierophant there, but maybe even doing some kind of healing work, like being in a shamanic line of work or some kind of a psychic development field or something like that. Next, we have your future trajectory and timeline. And I love, again, that you have another beautiful card here and that you have strength. So the strength card speaks of your continued development and your resilience. Your future trajectory is all about you standing in your power. And again, the strength card does make me also think of grace. It's like your grace to be able to accept some of the more wild parts of you, or some of the more challenging lessons that you've learned along the way at soul level, and also the acceptance and the gentleness to be able to continue to hold space for yourself and others in a very loving, safe capacity. That is what allows you to feel more confident in yourself, because I do feel as though the strength card in your future position here is really talking about you stepping into this leadership role or this teaching role or whatever it happens to be. And it is going to require you to have some courage to do that. Like it is going to kind of not force you, but it is going to challenge you to step outside of your comfort zone. And that is what's going to really help your soul to feel fulfilled and also to develop and evolve as you continue to progress. And then we have the potential outcome of your soul's journey. So this is kind of like the destination, the state of being, the mission status. And you have the moon card reversed. So again, lots of psychic energy that I'm picking up from this. The moon card here is making me think of the 12th house for some reason. And the 12th house is like spiritual development, things that are hidden away from the world, the subconscious mind, things like that. And so I feel like the outcome of your soul journey is really going to be the integration of all parts of the self. That's what I'm feeling from the moon card in reverse. It's like you went out there to understand yourself, and then you came back and understood that it was all within you all along. I'm getting like that Wizard of Oz vibe, and I kind of started to get that from the strength card as well. It's like the cowardly lion who learns that he can actually be very courageous when he cares about people and he cares about things. And then the moon card, which here it's kind of like you've had the power all along and you were always home. You just had to learn it for yourself. So this moon card is really the end of your spiritual development, or the potential outcome of this soul journey is to teach you about the deeper parts of yourself, the hidden parts of yourself, the things that you don't see as readily, but going through these different incarnational cycles and patterns is helping you to see those things. It's helping you to experience them, because the world and your relationships with other people are acting as a mirror for all of the hidden parts of the self, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it is helping you to really fully develop and shed light, or to illuminate those parts of the self that were hidden. That is the whole purpose of all of this. And you're also doing that for other people. So you're shining the light for other people and helping them to see what it is that they have hidden within themselves. It's like you're shedding light on the subconscious mind. And that's why I think that you're probably very psychic and most likely empathic as well. So being an empath and a psychic gives you a lot of additional resources to information, because you're sensing into fields of information that normal sensory perception would not be able to tap into. So you can feel the emotions of others, and you may be able to see clairvoyantly or something like that. So let's get some additional information, group number 1, on what else you're needing to know about this current soul journey. Okay, so I'm going to choose from this deck for pile number 1, or group number 1. I feel this card calling to come out. So for group number 1, what do they need to know about their soul journey? Feel this card as well. We're going to get 3 from this deck. So one more, please, Spirit. Is it this one? Okay, we're going to get 4 because they said, no, not 3. You need more. Okay. So you have unconditional trust. You also have karmic grace. I knew grace was going to come up somehow. You also have empowered service. And from word to world. Wow. Saraswati and Ammonite. Okay. All right, so group number 1, what I'm seeing here is the unconditional trust is really like a cornerstone of this energy. And it's funny because Celestite is actually what I originally had on the table as one of the sort of guarding stones or guarding objects that I use to kind of frame the readings and make sure that the spacing is correct. And Celestite, the energy of Celestite is very angelic. It's very throat chakra based as well. So I do feel like, especially since you have from word to world and you have the Hierophant here, this is giving me a very teacher based vibe. Communication is important. And Celestite is here to help you to release and trust the natural order of these events, because you did have the wheel, right? And so this really is about divine order. And part of that is releasing any need for personal egoic will or control, which could be another aspect of that King of Wands reversed. You know, it could be that you're having a hard time surrendering to the natural flow of events, that you're having a hard time releasing that need to understand things or to control them at the human level, and just allow your soul to kind of take the wheel and direct you through all of these incarnational lessons. And to help you to surrender to that trust, Celestite is stepping in to ease some of your fears or worries or doubts or self-esteem issues or anything like that, so that you feel more confident again, because the trust is really confidence. We can't have confidence without trust. And then you have karmic grace. I love this for you. That's kind of what I was seeing there with the 8 of Pentacles as well. It's like you have gone through a lot of karma, and the strength card is what you've developed over all these lifetimes of going through these karmic patterns and struggling with them and repeating the same mistakes. It's like you were able to understand cause and effect a lot better. You were able to understand your part in it and what you were doing, or what was leading to these results. And so because of that, you've developed a lot of resilience, and through that there's grace. That's the strength, is the grace to be able to understand and surrender and trust this natural evolution of events. I also just noticed that you have 333 and 333. So these are both, oh my God, and so is this one. You've got 333 3 times, and then you have 888. And the number 8 here is relating to the strength card as well, which we'll get there in a second. But 333 may be like a particularly strong numerological sign that you get. So maybe 333 is something you see on the clock all the time, or it's something you've seen repeating over the course of your life. And this represents the unity consciousness of mind, body, and soul. And it's bringing all of those 3 together. I also associate 3s with a major ending of a cycle and beginning of a new one through self-expression. 3s can also be about the ascended masters and how you work with them, or how you receive guidance, or maybe even becoming an ascended master in the sense that you're teaching other people. And you've kind of conquered all of these really difficult challenges and karmic lessons. And because of that, you have a lot of wisdom and experience. And maybe that's why they're kind of urging you to talk about this, or to teach about this, or to be a creative leader in this field. That could be to do with your empowered service here, because that's what they're mentioning. And this is part of why you've been called to this reading, is because empowered service is what your soul is desiring to do. But it may be having a hard time with that, given the current phase of more of that indirect or inverted energy kind of being directed inward instead of being directed out into the world. But you are being called to put things out into the world. From word to world is speaking to me of communicating these things. it's as you say it, so it shall be, I just heard as well. So this is being very intentional with your service work. It's being intentional with what you want to create. It is coming up with something. I just heard a course. So some of you may be thinking about creating courses eventually, but maybe you're still in the process of learning from courses. So again, it's not devaluing the knowledge that you have already. And I'm also hearing start before you think you're ready, because again, that's that King of Pentacles, or not King of Pentacles, sorry, King of Wands. That's that King of Wands energy in reverse. It's feeling a little bit like an imposter, or that you haven't developed as much as you actually have, and devaluing your own knowledge. So step into your wisdom, put yourself out there, start doing things before you feel ready, and you'll become ready along the way. That's kind of how you've always done it. Group number one, it's like you've really managed to learn a lot, and you have gained a lot of wisdom through experience, and you did it kind of from scratch. Like you started out with not a lot of information, very innocent, kind of almost, what's another word for innocent? That's like not gullible, but like slightly ignorant, but not in a derogatory sense. You know, if I say ignorant, people think like stupid or like deliberately ignorant. That's not what I mean. I mean, like your soul just did not have the wisdom. It did not have the knowledge, or it did not have the experience. And so because of that, it just went into things a little bit blindly. But that is what helped you learn. That is what helped you develop. It's like a child learning and exploring the world for the first time. Yes, of course, they're going to be ignorant to the ways of the world because they've never lived it before. And that's not their fault. And they're not stupid for that. That's just part of their development. That's part of maturation and the process of that. So they have to learn. They have to fall down sometimes. They have to touch the hot stove and burn themselves, even if they were told not to, because they need to experience it for themselves. And you have group number one. So even though you feel like you still have a lot to learn, I do see that you have learned a lot already. Now let's get some cards from this deck. Whoa. You have Serapis Bay with Go Now. I feel like this is your soul saying it's time, you're ready, let's go, hop to it kind of thing. With all of these cards kind of talking about you getting things in motion and putting yourself out there and speaking or teaching or creating something or being in a leadership position, your soul is really like, okay, we're good. We got this. We figured it out. We went through these things. It's time. It's just really about trusting yourself. You have to trust yourself to understand that these karmic patterns were not because you didn't do well enough. Like this is just the process of soul development. That's what we all go through. And actually, because it took you a little bit longer to master these things, you actually have more knowledge than people who went through it with, flying colors the first round and who didn't have to repeat anything. So you're actually more knowledgeable than some people who surpassed you or you thought surpassed you, because you have knowledge of those repeating karmic cycles that they don't, which is really helpful because there's a lot of other souls that have gone through repeating patterns. I can tell you that from experience working with hundreds of clients and seeing these things in the Akashic record. People, we all struggle with this. This is part of soul development. And it's just that I think part of the soul's perception, which there is a level of soul ego, by the way. The soul does think of itself in a particular way based on its experiences. The concept of self at that soul level is kind of like, oh yeah, but it took me so long. I'm not really good at it then. And I don't want to be misleading people, but you're not. You're actually, you have a lot of knowledge that needs to be shared. It's just that, yeah, you just don't feel ready yet. Okay, I'm not going to keep repeating the same thing over and over, but that's what your soul is saying. Your higher self knows you're ready, though. That's the thing. Your higher self and your soul are different, because your soul is like the version of you that is still continuing to develop, and your higher self is the version of you that has completed its development cycle, and it's now looking back from outside of time to be able to assist you in your current state of development. You have Luch with persistence, and it did come up in reverse. So I feel like there has maybe like you stalled out. Yeah. It's like maybe you've stopped taking action. That King of Wands in reverse can indicate that. So you might have stalled out, and it's like you feel like you're not progressing, or you feel like you're stuck. But your soul is saying, just trust, release, let go, allow grace to step in. You're doing better than you think. You're stronger than you think you are. You've developed way more wisdom than you fully comprehend. And you're ready. You're ready to do it now. So be persistent about it. Go for it. Keep trying. Keep going through. Keep having hope. Try again is what I just keep hearing, because again, like the more times it takes for you to get it, the stronger and more profound that understanding is going to be. It's like, okay, what they're showing me in my mind is somebody trying to master a skill, and they do it once and they kind of get it, and then they move on to the next. Okay, but they didn't spend much time on that skill, so they don't really understand all the ins and outs of it. Like if you asked them to like teach you about it, they wouldn't know all the shortcomings of it because they just breezed right through it. So they wouldn't be a very good teacher of it. Sure, they could do it for themselves, but they wouldn't be able to teach it because they don't know all the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the hard parts of it. Whereas the reason you're a good teacher and you're meant to be in a leadership position and to teach people is because it took you longer to get these things. And so because of that, you know all the ways that it doesn't work, which is really helpful for souls who get stuck in those patterns or cycles that don't work. Do you see why this is important? Do you see why your soul chose actually to do it this way? Because you are a teacher at heart. You're a lover. You're all about these relationships with other people, and you want to help other people from this divine place of service. And so because of that, you were like, well, I'm going to put myself kind of through the ringer here in terms of these karmic patterns and cycles so that I really know the ins and outs of them, and I can help people to get out of these patterns too. I think that's really cool. Let's get a couple more cards. You have yoga with Babaji. Okay. I feel like sorry, I'm just connecting to the energy of Babaji. I've never had this card come out before. And I'm feeling from him yoginis and yoga masters. It's like this profound sense of peace and that karmic grace that comes from that. It's like the ultimate transmutation of energy, because there is an inherent sense of balance and a trust in the divine order. So this is all kind of channeling through me right now. So this is what you're meant to develop into. Group number 1, you're meant to develop into this yogini, and it doesn't mean that you have to practice yoga. It's the principles of it, which is really about harmony, flow, grace, balance, divine order, transmutation of energy, karmic grace as well, because we did have that card too. So it's the transcendence of the limitations of the human realm and moving into an ascended state. Yeah, I did get that feeling of ascended master with you. So this could be part of your soul development as well. It's like you had to repeat a lot of these patterns so that you could really know all the ins and outs. So you could not only teach it here, but also when you're continuing on your soul journey, eventually I think the end goal is for you to become an ascended master of some kind. So being able to ascend to a guide level position and maybe work with people as a spirit guide once you've kind of ascended and gone to the other side or something like that. Clear and shield your energy, El Moria. Okay, I've had El Moria come up in a client session once before, and he's very, very powerful. This energy of transmutation that he holds is really strong. And we were just talking about transmutation. So I think because you're so energetically sensitive, it is particularly important for you to clear and shield your energy, especially if you've been through a lot of challenges or karmic patterns that were very dense and heavy and painful. It is important to shield yourself and to raise your vibration. That's actually the best shield that you can do, guys. It's not like a protective sigil or anything like that. It's literally just raising your own frequency to that of divine love and unity, because that is the ultimate protection. That is the ultimate power. And that, I think, is what both of these cards are talking about. And that's the ascended master level knowledge that you are ascending to, that you are developing into becoming. Okay, now we're going to do something really fun. I got this new thing. I don't even know what to call it. I got this new game and it's called Fireside Story Dice, and I picked this up from London Drugs, and I felt, oh my God, I need that for readings. And I'll show you how it's going to work. So instead of using it as a story dice, which it's supposed to be like a story prompt to either cause you to like make up a story regarding all of these images or symbols, or to like prompt your memory to tell a story about these, I'm not sure. But the way I'm going to use it is going to be for like divination. I'm going to use it to kind of trigger information in that sense, and specifically about what the next steps for you are going to be. Okay, I have them in my hands. Oops, there goes one. So I'm just going to shake them up and then drop them and see what we get. Okay, so you've got the fishing rod, and as soon as I picked that up, I heard you can teach a man to fish, or you can give a man a fish, or you can teach a man to fish. What is that? You can give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, or you can teach a man to fish and he'll eat forever. So this is making me think of like teaching again, maybe creating courses or being in that leadership position where you're teaching people how to do the things that you learned to do through all of this sort of trial and error. Okay, I also see you have the tools here. So this feels to me as though this is about like fixing things or correcting karma, healing these aspects, being able to be a helper. I heard like a spiritual handyman or handywoman, where you're able to take the knowledge you've gained and to give back. So maybe developing or continuing to look for tools that can help you to teach people or help to learn whatever you need to learn or you feel like you need to learn to be able to do something. Okay, the next one I'm seeing is the popcorn. And this popcorn is making me think of kind of like being a bystander or sitting back and just watching something develop. So this could be how you learn as well, through observation. But I'm also feeling like this could be also about entertainment. So this could be something that you're doing as well. You might be producing creative content that teaches people. It could be like stories. It could be videos. It could be something like that that's to do with entertainment of some kind. So people might be learning through you by kind of just sitting back and watching what it is that you're making. Okay, we also have, this one next, which is the worried face. Okay, so I feel like this worried face is you feeling like you're not ready. You feeling as though, again, there's like some insecurity there, or you don't feel confident in your ability to step into this role yet. But I'm also seeing the leaves, which is making me think of fall and this like changing of the seasons. So I feel like you are ready, and you just kind of need to trust. Again, it's like unconditional trust to be able to move through these cycles and to know that everything is happening in its time. So it's like as the seasons change, you just kind of got to roll with it. And instead of worrying about it, it's like, what can you do to move with nature? It's like those cycles of time. What can you do to move with nature rather than worrying about it or stressing about it or resisting it? Okay, next one I'm seeing is the lightning bolt. So this is making me think of learning for some reason. It's making me think of like information, or it could be also sudden changes. You might be worried about sudden changes, but I think these sudden changes, if they do happen, are really, again, for learning. It's part of these cycles of karma. It's part of these understandings and these lessons that are helping you to ascend and level up and really get it. It's like you get it, you master it, you're able to understand it fully, all the ins and outs of it through the experiences you've had. So don't fear these changes, because both of these cards are speaking of changes. Like, don't worry about it. You've got a lot of knowledge and experience and karmic grace to help you move through this. Very, very protected. I also just heard in my head, it's like you're protected. You have this resilience and this strength within you, and your soul is it's all in divine order. So like nothing bad is going to happen to you that's irreversible. You know what I mean? It's like you don't need to worry quite as much as I think that you are. Okay, we also have the happy cat. And this is making me think of like, I don't know why, but for some reason it's making me think of curiosity. It's like curiosity killed the cat, but I feel like instead of it killing the cat, it's like it's actually making it happy. So follow your curiosity, follow what brings you a sense of passion or excitement or what you want to learn about. Like follow that line of thought follow your curiosity, because instead of killing the cat, it's actually going to help the cat to be happy. And then you have the cow as well. So the cow is making me think of like milk for your labors. It's like you need to put in the work to get your milk instead of just kind of like going to the store and getting a bag of milk. Oh my God. If you didn't grow up in the East, then you don't know what a bag of milk is, do you? Like a jug of milk or a carton of milk. Yeah, I know. Like the East Coast is weird and they put milk in bags. But yeah, I feel like you need to put in a little bit of work or effort to get what it is that you want out of this. Okay, then you have this cute little house. So it's like you're still building, is what I feel like. It's like you're still building something up. So there's still some work that needs to be done, or you're still in your comfort zone. It's kind of like you feel like you're still building it, so you're staying in your comfort zone. Yeah, that's the same message we were getting from the cards as well. So this is like allowing yourself to be curious and kind of come out of your comfort zone a little bit, put in a little bit of effort to get what it is that you are passionate about or curious about or excited about, and come out of your comfort zone. Or maybe you can do this from home even, maybe you can actually do this from your comfort zone physically, but it's going to require you to emotionally come out of your comfort zone, something like that. Oh, I love that you have the happy face one as well, because that's making me think of like satisfaction, and it's giving me this feeling of fulfillment, like you're really happy or you're feeling grateful for the choices you've made and you're seeing some progress. Because in the next card you have this like party, what do you call that? Like a party popper or something like that. A noisemaker. So you're kind of celebrating something. You're celebrating and feeling happy and satisfied about some progress that you've made. But you do have this, it's interesting because I could read this as a thumbs up, or I could read this as a thumbs down. And I feel like it's a thumbs up. So it's kind of like how you look at it. There might be a situation where to others it would feel like it was a thumbs down, but to you it's actually a thumbs up. So I'm getting an interesting message from that. Let me tune into it and see what the additional message is there. Yeah, it's kind of like other people might not approve of it, but to you, it's like a win. It feels like a win or a success, and it's something to celebrate. So even though other people might be saying no to it, you are saying yes to it, and it's really giving you a sense of satisfaction, whatever it happens to be. So embrace the change, study and acquire the tools you need to be able to teach people to do for themselves what you learned to do for yourself. And that's going to bring a lot of curiosity, a little bit of work that needs to go into it. And you might be able to do that from home. And it's going to bring you a great sense of satisfaction. You're going to be celebrating and you're going to be feeling really good about it. So you get the thumbs up from, it's making me think of like the gladiator times when the gladiators would fight and then the emperor would say like thumbs up or thumbs down, kind of like literally in the movie Gladiator. And I feel like you're getting the thumbs up from the universe, being like, yes, you did it. You get to be free from this karmic gladiator ring. Wow. Okay. Powerful messages for you, group number 1. I really enjoyed doing this reading. I hope that it resonated with you and that it supported you and it brought you some information that you needed at soul level. And if you need any more personal guidance or support or healing or even teaching or tools or learning, I am a professional psychic medium, energy healer, spiritual counselor, mentor, Akashic reader, all of those things. You can find all my services down in the link to my website in the description box below this video. And otherwise, yeah, I'm wishing you the best on your spiritual journey as it continues and you develop. You're further along than you think, group number 1. Sending you so much love and blessings as you continue. We'll see you in the next reading. Bye. Hi, group number 2. If you chose the butterfly symbol or the butterfly image, this is your soul journey reading. So we're going to be using a 10 card spread to start out, and then we'll be getting some oracle cards and also a new fun thing that I just recently picked up, and I'm absolutely loving it. So you will find out what that is at the end. Let's start with your cards. So I'm going to actually just shuffle for a second here to clear the deck. All right, so for pile number 2, you have the Two of Swords as your past life history. So these are like your past life experiences, your past life lessons. I'm going to actually just pull off the top for the rest of them. The second card is your wisdom gained from those past lives. You have the Hierophant. Your soul gifts, you have Justice. Your soul development, you have the Four of Pentacles. Your current phase, you have the Seven of Wands reversed. Your spiritual mission, you have the Seven of Pentacles reversed. Your current alignment with that mission, you have the Sun card reversed. Your current development phase is the Death card reversed. Your future trajectory, you have the Ten of Pentacles reversed. And your potential outcome is the Two of Cups reversed. Wow, okay. There we go. I just had to adjust your cards a little bit. Okay, so group number 2, your past life history and lessons, you have the Two of Swords. So what I'm getting from this is that your past lives, you were just having a hard time kind of deciding what it was that you were meant to be doing. You might not have seen things very clearly. You may have been fairly unconscious and not necessarily spiritually aware in those lifetimes. So you did learn a lot about the world is what I'm seeing. It's like you learned a lot about how people think or even about how you think, but you didn't necessarily see it from that higher vantage point of the soul. You were just looking at it from a human perspective. The wisdom you gained from this, though, is the Hierophant. So you did have some kind of spiritual knowledge that resulted from those things, maybe not in those lifetimes directly, but maybe afterwards. You did gain some spiritual knowledge from kind of the lines of thinking, or even like the different dualistic ways of thinking. So this could have been even specifically religious, like maybe you believed in religion to the extent that you kind of weren't able to see past the dogma or the institutional types of teachings, but it did give you a lot of wisdom about human nature. It did give you a lot of wisdom about the realms of thought, like why we believe what we believe, things like that. Your soul gifts, you have Justice here. So your soul gift is really, you have, interestingly enough, you have these 2 cards that are both blindfolded. You see that? So because they're both blindfolded, this is making me think that one of your biggest gifts at soul level is impartiality. You're very able to kind of remain detached about things and study them with kind of like checking your ego a little bit, or finding the balance between things. Some of it may have actually gone the opposite. In those past lives, you may have gone a little bit too far to one side or too far to the other, or maybe you've just remained in the middle because you were unable to pick a side. But whatever it was, your soul level gifts are actually about balance and justice and fairness. And you're able to kind of check your ego. I just heard again, you're able to check your ego and make choices that align with truth. It's all about integrity for you at soul level is what I'm seeing. Your soul development, you have the Four of Pentacles. So the soul development being the Four of Pentacles here is kind of talking about like you're just right now acquiring information. You're just acquiring experience. You're kind of like holding on to all of it, and you haven't gotten where you want to be yet, but you're getting there, and you are progressing. You are learning a lot in this process. You're just kind of in the phase right now where you are hoarding kind of like information from these past lives until you figure out what you want to do with it. The current phase that you're in, being the Seven of Wands reversed, is that you're kind of still remaining in the background. You're not really standing out or doing anything that challenges the status quo. You're just still standing on the sidelines is what I'm seeing. It's like you're standing on the sidelines and you're still just observing. You haven't picked a side yet. And I think that's what I'm getting here now that I'm looking a little bit more at the rest of your cards from the Two of Swords and the Justice as well. It's like you're standing on the sidelines and you're not getting involved with either of the teams, or you're not cheering for one side or the other. You're just watching and observing to see how things play out. And this is the information that you're gathering. You're there as like an objective observer. You're not there to participate in that sense. And that's fine. I think that's what your soul has chosen. It's chosen that for a reason. It's looking at this in a very objective way, which I think can actually be very spiritually supportive, because then you don't get so attached to different ways of thinking or belief sets. And I think that that's actually helping you to progress. So let's take a look at the next card, which is your spiritual mission. The Seven of Pentacles in reverse. So the Seven of Pentacles in reverse here with your spiritual mission is kind of telling me that you're working towards development of your soul to the point of harvest. So what harvest means in the soul term or soul terminology is that your soul no longer needs to continue within the incarnational karma cycle. It's like you learn everything that you need to learn and you achieve moksha or ascension, or you're able to transcend the physical incarnational lessons and learning patterns. So you ascend to that higher dimension or frequency or state of consciousness, and then you're able to go where you want to go or do what you want to do after that point. So I do see that your spiritual mission is to continue working on your development, really, because that's what the Seven of Pentacles talks about as well. It's kind of like patience with the process. And again, we have observation and kind of standing back and being more objective and detached. The Seven of Pentacles, if you can see in this card, she's quite literally like standing back and observing the tree and the fruit to see if it's ready yet. And she's not taking any action. She's just kind of like assessing the situation. So that's what I see for you. Your spiritual development is very much about you kind of still just assessing the situation and learning what you can in a very detached way. Then your current alignment is next. And this coming up as the Sun card reversed, I feel like your current alignment is, It feels like it's a little bit detached again, like, but not necessarily in a good way here. I think that some level of detachment is good, but having some kind of a healthy ego attachment to your experiences in life is necessary to develop. It is necessary to kind of be involved in some way, because that's how we learn at soul level. That's how we understand karma, is through our own personal experiences. If we're just standing back and watching, but we never actually enter into the fray and kind of test our mettle, then we don't learn as much or as quickly as if we just kind of remain detached. So I do see that some of this in terms of your current alignment with your mission is a little bit out of whack. I wouldn't say that you're off course. I wouldn't say that you're off trajectory. I would just say that there's a little bit more involvement that is kind of being required from you that you haven't necessarily stepped into yet, or maybe there's something you haven't seen yet. This could also be to do with your need to, they're showing me like the astrological wheel in this card. So it could be to do with the planets. It could be to do with like other alignments, because this question that we're asking is literally about your alignment with your mission. So this could be to do with something that's going on in the planets that's kind of impacting how you're stepping into or not stepping into this level of interaction or conscious participation in what it is that you're learning here at the egoic level. The current development that you're in right now, or the lessons and healing that you're working on, being the Death card reversed, it's almost like, yeah, I keep feeling like it's a healthy ego attachment that is going to help you, because the Death card reversed, this is a rebirth. But I'm actually feeling more strongly from this card that it's more so about your egoic attachment to life is like not as strong as some people's is. You're just kind of like, eh. And it's, actually, I do see that sometimes with Andromedan souls when I work with them doing Akashic readings. Like the Andromedan souls can have a little bit of a more detached nature when it comes to incarnations and human life. They're not as egoically driven as some other people are. So they don't really care to achieve anything major. They're not really, picking sides. They're not like super far left or super far right or anything like that. They're just kind of like, I'm just here for observation. I'm just here to watch. Like, I'm just here to do whatever. And that's kind of what I get from you, is that your soul is a little bit it's like a little bit detached from your human incarnations and even your current life now, possibly. Next, we have actually, there's more to do with your current development. So when it comes to current development, the lessons that you're going through and that you're working on healing right now is actually developing some healthy egoic attachment to your life. And to your human self and to what your ego desires or wants, or maybe even working on finding what that is. Maybe you're just not really passionate about anything. And so you've just kind of stayed on the sidelines and watched everybody else be passionate about what they're passionate about. But I think that part of your current development and healing is to form that healthy egoic attachment so that you can start finding what you are interested in or passionate about or wanting to be doing, because you are working towards development at the soul level so that you can break free from these patterns. But to do that, you do kind of have to participate in the process of that a little bit. Your future trajectory or timeline here, being the 10 of Pentacles reversed, is really interesting. So this is kind of speaking to me of, it's like, I don't know, the 10 of Pentacles here is just giving me like a weird sort of blank. And that's very, very rare. Normally when I look at a card, I can feel or see or hear and tune into the energy of it. And this future trajectory for you, group number 2, with the 10 of Pentacles reversed, it just feels kind of empty. So again, I think that this may be because we're talking about your current trajectory, and now that can always be changed, right? Nothing is set in stone, especially for you. Like there are certain souls that everything is kind of pre-set up and predestined, and there's a lot of things that are sort of set in stone, but there's malleability around that. For you, I feel like it's just very open-ended because your soul came into this very detached, so it didn't really set any parameters. It didn't really say like, this is what I want to learn, this is why I want to learn it, and these are the lessons I'm going to set up for myself to be able to do that. For you, it's just kind of like, I'm just here. And that can happen. I worked with hundreds of souls, and I've seen many different variations of soul choices and incarnational cycles, and this is one of them. That it's more rare, but it can be a thing. And if that's what is the case for you, group number 2, if you're resonating with this, then your future is just kind of like a blank slate. And so there's not really much that I can feel from it, because it's kind of like whatever you want to do with it. There's nothing really that needs to be done per se, but I would encourage you to kind of work towards something that gives you a sense of satisfaction or a sense of stability. The 10 of Pentacles in the upright position can also be about money, like having a healthy egoic attachment to money, or even building a legacy of some kind. Maybe that's what you could be focusing on or developing towards, is building this legacy of some kind that will give you that sense of purpose or something to work toward. Because if you're just kind of standing around not really doing anything, you can start to feel aimless or stuck or stagnant, and then you're not really working towards ascension. You're not really working towards your spiritual development because you're not really doing anything. So maybe just figure out what it is that you want to create. Focus on what it is you desire. Do you want to leave? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Group 2. What do you want to develop into? Because they just reminded me of your symbol. The image that you chose is the butterfly. So this is all about development. This is all about transformation. And so the question that Spirit is asking you right now to kind of reflect on is, what do you want to develop into? Because right now you're like a pile of goo inside the cocoon, and you've just kind of been sitting there, not really doing anything. And you're in this in-between stage. That's what they're showing me with the balance and the scales here as well. It's like you're in this in-between stage where you're not the caterpillar and you're not the butterfly, and you're just kind of in the middle, and you're not really doing anything. And everything's open-ended, so it's not even like you have like a set butterfly that you're meant to evolve into. It's like you could be any color, any size, any shape, and it's really just up to you. So Spirit is asking you to kind of decide what it is that you want. What legacy do you want to leave behind, or what do you want to become? Because that can be part of legacy too. What do you want to become? And maybe even forming a healthy egoic attachment to what you want to have. This could be to do with work. This could be to do with your finances. Could be to do with relationships as well, since we have the Two of Cups as the next card, but I'll get to that in a second. So really focus on some healthy level of egoic attachment to an outcome or to a desire that you would like to see come to fruition, because that's what's actually going to help you spiritually progress. For some souls, they need to learn detachment. For you, it's like you have too much detachment, and you need to learn to actually develop some kind of healthy drive or motivation to move forward in a direction that you want to be moving forward into. The potential outcome of your soul journey, the destination, the potential state of being, or the mission status you have is the Two of Cups reversed. So I feel here that the Two of Cups reversed is kind of talking about you getting to know yourself better through how you see yourself mirrored in the world around you. So instead of being on the sidelines like a fly on the wall, not participating, the future or potential outcome of this soul journey, once you get through this kind of in-between stage, is it's actually going to be about learning to understand other people by understanding yourself a bit better, or rather, understanding yourself by understanding other people a bit better. Yeah, I had it reversed. Just like the card, it's reversed. So it's understanding other people so that you can understand yourself. And maybe that's why you're an observer. Maybe that's why you're just watching and you're very impartial, is because you're trying to find out who you are. And so you're watching everybody else to see what they're doing, because they act as mirrors for you. It's like they show you what you do and don't want. So you're still in that in-between stage where you're deciding, you're just acquiring information, you're just taking it all in. And that's divine too. There's nothing wrong with that. You're exactly where you need to be. So keep doing that, but also work on developing kind of what it is that you do want to be. Now that you've kind of acquired some information and you do have some awareness because you've been observing for quite some time, what it is that you actually do want to be, because that's going to help you to move forward and to step into a higher level of your spiritual gifts, your wisdom. That's going to help you to level up into this ascension, this freedom from these karmic cycles or incarnational loops. Okay, let's get some oracle cards now. So we're going to start with this deck. I feel this card. I do feel that card. I almost passed by it, but it is that card, okay? Which one is it? 1, 2, or 3? 2. Okay. So, group number 2, you have Her Eye Ever Open. Oh my God, I love that, because you have these two blindfolded figures, and then you have Her Eye Ever Open. So this is talking about you opening your eyes so that you can see more clearly, so that, it's like kind of coming out of a little bit of that impartiality and starting to see things from the eye of, what do I actually want to be, or what's the truth for me, and what do I need to do to create that. You have divine alchemy. So this is really speaking to me of you alchemizing the information that you've acquired and applying that, creating something out of that. Ooh, you have searing presence. And you have 2 888s. Wait, what's this one? This one's 333. Group number 1 had 3 333s and an 888, and you have 2 888s and a 333. Okay, so you have searing presence. And I feel like this is really about you continuing to develop that healthy connection to your environment, your sense of self, your sensory experiences, your healthy ego drive for life, like the sensuality of life, the physical experience of life. Put yourself out into the world, because you've kind of been, again, just like sitting on the sidelines. And part of living life is actually going out and having experiences. And these could be experiences that help you to open up your eyes and see the world in a different way, and therefore see yourself in a different way as well. Okay, now let's get some cards from this deck. So for group number 2, in regard to their soul journey, what do they need to know? I feel this card. Whoa. Oops. Sorry, they told me no on those ones, so I put them back in. We'll just wait until the right cards come out. I feel this one and this one. So and this one. Okay, good. So we've got those. Let's see what they are. You have listen, Manjushri. Listen. I like that you have her eye ever open and these 2 blindfolded, because you're opening your eyes, and then you've got listen. So it's like you're increasing your senses, and that's what searing presence was giving me as well. It's like you're opening up your senses so you can actually experience the world more directly, rather than just kind of being more detached. Yes, Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. So yes, you're meant to be doing something right now. You're meant to be removing these obstacles so that you can evolve and alchemize some of this knowledge and experiences you have gained by being in the observer role, to develop into whatever you choose to become. You have teacher in the reverse position, and you did have the Hierophant, which is also about the teacher. So Mahachohan Regozi, I'm so sorry, I just butcher these names because I really don't know how they're supposed to be pronounced. But I do see that, especially with teacher in reverse, this could be indicating that you are maybe not listening or not learning, or not necessarily integrating the knowledge that you are observing. It's like you're not seeing something here because there's too much impartiality. It's like you're missing the lesson. And I don't think that it's like a deliberate not listening or a deliberate shirking of the information. It's more like you're just not seeing it because you're so impartial and detached that you're not actually experiencing it, or you're not being able to hear it for what it is. That's interesting. And then you have right, Thoth, or Tehote. So some of you may be teachers or writers, and you may need to listen to your inner guidance to act on that. Maybe you've just kind of been observing it, but you haven't taken any action on it yet. And they're kind of asking you to open your eyes to that truth within you, or to channel that information out, because the third eye is also our conduit to our imagination and the realms of creation. So we can channel information through the imagination and then turn that into something physical. And it might be writing, it might be teaching, it might be some kind of development there, because Tehote was also a teacher as well. So Thoth was a teacher, and he was a spiritual teacher, and he was a spiritual master, and he also goes by the name Hermes Trismegistus. So this is all about communication. It's about learning. It's about listening as well. So you've got all of these cards that are kind of speaking about removing any obstacles. You may actually need to clear a third eye blockage, I just heard in my head. So these blindfolds may represent a third eye blockage, that you're not seeing something clearly. And that may be why you're a little bit detached. And that may be affecting your throat chakra as well, and your ability to teach or communicate or write. That may be a blockage or an obstruction that's needing to be cleared. That's why Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. This can help you to hear clairaudiently and see clairvoyantly. So there may be some blockages here that do need to be addressed. Okay, that's interesting. Now, what we're going to do is use this really fun little game that I found at the drugstore, and it absolutely screamed at me to buy it for these readings. And usually I think it's supposed to be used to, you have to like string a story together using these symbols, or you need to tell stories based on what you have experienced of those symbols, but we're going to be using it in the divinatory sense. So I am going to get them out here, and we're just going to give them a nice shuffle, and then we'll see what comes up. Okay, so the first thing I see is this angry face. So I'm sorry if this reading has triggered you in some way. Maybe there is some ego attachment in there. That's good. That's healthy. Or maybe this is indicating that you do need to kind of allow yourself to feel certain things and get angry and get upset and be a human, you know, allow yourself to be a human, because right now it's kind of like you're in this detached state of just meh. Like it feels very meh, a little bit disappointing as well. And this may also be because of the lack of egoic attachment, because these are both yellow. And yellow is the color of the solar plexus chakra, which is where our sense of self and our identity and our ego really exerts itself through our will to accomplish tasks or to move towards goals. So you might be feeling a little bit meh about the fact that you kind of lack a sense of direction, or this feeling of wanting to move forward. And then next you have I got two that are coming up really, like I'm catching my attention both here. And the first one is the rope. So it feels like you're tied up. It's frustrating because you're tied up. It's like you're still in that cocoon, and you might even feel like you're suffocating in there. And these blockages being released is really going to help that, because you may feel like you're moving really slowly. You may be frustrated. That's what that anger might be as well. You're frustrated and disappointed with how slowly you might be progressing. But it feels like you're a cactus in the desert, like you're still growing, but it's just like there's not that much around you. So you don't really have context for it. And that might feel, again, why it doesn't feel like you're making any progress. You are, you know, desert cactuses can still flower and bloom. But they do exist in very dry, sort of arid environments. And that's just kind of what they do. So your soul has chosen to exist in like a little bit of a desert in terms of your spiritual development. There's not a whole lot of like sensory experiences that you've had. You may have even gone through different lifetimes where you lacked sensory experience, like you may have been blind, is what I just channeled. You may have been blind or deaf. So it's almost like you're struggling to connect to these things and to learn through these different sensory experiences of being human, because you're so detached, or you're like cut off from that. That's really cool. Wow. Holy cow. Okay, so the next one I'm seeing is the log. And this is making me think of like a bump on a log. You know, it's like not moving anywhere, just stuck, stagnant, feeling like cut off as well, like things have been cut off from you, or you're cut off from the world. Again, that may be why some of those blockages, like if you have a hard time connecting psychically or hearing clairaudiently, or any of these, you know, sensory experiences, this could also be because of past life experiences where you were cut off physically, where you didn't have access to these sensory sensory senses where you didn't have access to these senses, or you didn't have access to participating in the way that you wanted to or that you needed to. Now I am getting the party cone here, or like the party popper, that is speaking to me of some kind of a celebration. So even though you feel like you're not progressing, or you feel like you're stuck or trapped or moving slowly, or things are really arid and dry and stuck like a bump on a log, I do feel like there's some kind of a celebration. So whatever you're doing, you are actually progressing, even though it might be slow and you might feel like there's not a lot of progress. You actually are. It's like it's all happening below the surface. They're taking me back to the cactus here, and they're showing me that it's like the roots of the cactus are absorbing the water, and the cactus is very, very still. It doesn't move, but it just absorbs that water and it takes everything in. And that's what we were seeing with the Four of Pentacles. It's like you're gathering all of these things up, and eventually you're going to have enough to be able to do something with it. You're going to be able to flower, but you first have to gather it all up. So you're actually doing what you need to be doing. I don't think you're as stuck or stagnant as you think you are, or as we may have been seeing in these cards. Like you're getting ready to go through a rebirth. It's just, it does take time, and it may take a little longer for you than some other souls, because your soul level attachment to your development was much less stringent or rigid. It was just very open-ended, and so it's kind of like you didn't really have a sense of direction to begin with, and so obviously it's going to take longer to get to your destination because you don't know where that is. You haven't plotted it on the map, so you just kind of wandered around until maybe you started to have an idea of what you wanted to do. Okay, and I'm seeing this one here being like the thumbs down. And in the previous reading, I was seeing it as the thumbs up. So same image, but this time for you, it's the thumbs down. And it has nothing to do with the way it came up. It's just the energy that I'm getting from it. And this is feeling like the thumbs down is really about you realizing what you didn't want. So it's like instead of having a clear idea of what your soul progression was going to look like, you kind of went into it very open-ended, and you were like, well, I'm just going to figure out what it is that I'm just going to observe and see what goes on here. And I'm going to kind of be that fly on the wall and that observer to give myself enough information about what I do and don't want. Because if you don't know where you want to go, you kind of need to just see what the options are. And then once you've determined that you don't want that, then you have a clearer idea or a better idea of what you do want. And so you've kind of gone through a little bit of process of elimination here to figure out what it was that you really did want to develop into. You have a hot dog. So you know what I heard in my head? Hot dog. I've got it now. It's like you finally figure it out, and you're like, okay, I've been through all these lifetimes where I didn't have this and I didn't have that, or I didn't participate in this way, or I was really detached. And now I'm kind of like sick of that and I want something else. So it's like that long drought period finally leading to you being like, oh, okay, I actually want to do this. And then you do it. And it ends up being a fairly quick process actually for you to develop after such a long period of kind of slow progress or even stagnancy. And you do have the scissors here, so I feel like this is you cutting through the cocoon. It's like you're cutting your way out. So you just decide what you want to be or you want to do, and then all of a sudden you're that, and now you just cut your way out. Like you don't even have to go through the development process into that. It's like you are such a high level spiritual soul that you actually are able to just become what you want to be. You just needed to decide what it was that you wanted to do. That was really the only problem, is that you just didn't know, and you didn't have an idea of it, and you didn't really have an attachment to anything. So you didn't become anything. But as soon as you decide, or if you have decided now, it's like, boom, all of a sudden it's this very, very fast rebirth. And this is making me think of rebirth as well. It's like a newborn chick. It's like you come out fully formed. You know what I mean? It's like, like a chick that comes out of the egg. You're not like mush anymore. You're now fully formed, and you've become what it is that you decided that you wanted to be. And then you start moving, then you buckle up and start going. You really get some fast progress happening. And this could even be in a direction that helps you to communicate to other people, or that assists in teaching other people, or even like, this is also making me think of, it's like self-directed movement. So you're able to start making some progress and building up some strength, and you're also able to get to a destination. So even though you're still moving a little bit slower than you, I think, would like, you're going to be able to start moving, and that is going to create some progression for you, which your soul will be very satisfied with. Very interesting reading, group number 2, very different from group number 1. I hope that this resonated with you and that it supported you on your journey. It was a wild ride for me. I mean, like, you never know what you're going to expect with these readings, but I never cease to be amazed and fascinated by these readings and connecting with your energy. So thank you so much for allowing me to provide this reading for you. If you did resonate with it and you appreciated it, please let me know by liking the video and or subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more of these pick a card, pick an image, pick a symbol readings. And if you need any personal one-on-one support, I am a professional psychic medium, and I provide all sorts of different services, which you can find at the link in my description box to my website. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the reading, and we will see you in the next one. Bye. All right, hi, group number 3. If you chose the radiant heart image, then this is going to be your soul journey reading. So we're going to be using a 10-card spread, and then we'll be pulling some oracle cards, as well as a new fun divination tool that I've recently acquired, which you can stick around to the end to find out what that is. So let's get started. I'm going to first bring out your tarot deck, do a little shuffling. Okay, and then I'm going to pick off the top, so I'm not going to be doing it like shuffling style pulls. I'm just going to grab what's coming up here. So the first card is your past life history. You have the 5 of Cups. The wisdom gained from these past lives is the Page of Pentacles. The soul gifts that you have are the Knight of Wands. The soul development, you have the Magician in the reverse position. Okay. The current phase that you're in now, wow, the 10 of Cups, pile number 3 or group number 3. This is amazing. Spiritual mission is the 3 of Swords. Okay. The current alignment with that mission, you have the 5 of Swords. You got some tricky energy and some also really good energy, so I'm interested to see how this plays out. The current development in your lessons or your spiritual healing is the Strength card reversed. The future trajectory of your timeline, you have the 5 of Wands. Okay. And the potential outcome of your soul journey is the 2 of Pentacles. Okay, gotcha. There we go. I just wanted to adjust your cards a little bit so they're centered nicely for the reading. So let's take a look at your soul journey, group number 3. The past life history you have being the 5 of Cups. This really feels to me as though your past lives have been very challenging for you. You've had a hard time letting go, and there's been a lot of grief. So this could have been around the experiences you had in those lives. You might have lost loved ones. You might have had to go through a lot of letting go, or you may have just had a lot of attachment to your past life selves. And so anytime that there was a death, obviously we have to die to reincarnate, you really might have struggled to let go of that identity that you developed in that lifetime, or even that physical body. So I'm just feeling a lot of grief and sorrow and pain from these past lives that you've been through. Now, the wisdom that you've gained from this, though, is the Page of Pentacles. So it's like you're learning. It might be slow. It might feel as though you're taking your time with it, or you're still developing and you're still kind of not sure why these things are happening the way they're happening. You might be a younger soul for some of you. The reason that this is kind of taking a little bit longer is because you are needing to kind of come to grips with what this process or cycle of reincarnation actually entails and how that feels from the human perspective, because the soul perspective is very different than the human perspective, and the higher self perspective is very different than the soul perspective. So just for reference, the human self is the ego self. It's our personal identity and our experience that's subjective within this reality. The soul self is the self that is connected to spirit, but also self-aware in the sense that it's still developing. And the higher self is the soul after it's already gone through all of its developmental phases and it has completed that trajectory, and it kind of circles back to help the self as it's continuing to develop. So this is what I'm seeing here for your wisdom gained, is that you are still at a beginning stage of developing in terms of how you handle some of the physical changes and lessons that these past incarnations have brought you. Now, your soul gifts are the Knight of Wands here. So this really does feel as though your soul gifts are that you may be a little bit impulsive, or you may be more inclined to action or risk taking, which can sometimes pay off, but as we saw here in some of these past lives, it may have also caused some wounds or some pain or some suffering in some way. I do feel as though the soul gifts here are very much about your ability to take charge though. So even though there may have been things that were really hard for you, I do see that you're able to take charge, you're able to change things in a direction that's going to work better for you. So even if there was pain or loss or suffering, and you're still feeling as though you're needing to learn things about that, you're more quickly able to redirect or reposition yourself with the Knight of Wands as your soul gift. It's like I can see you, they're showing me a horse changing directions really quickly, and its rider is very, very adept at turning or pivoting or just controlling the horse. Like, you do have the capacity to be able to control things here. The downside to the Knight of Wands, even though this is technically a soul gift position, is that the Knight of Wands can be, like I said, a little impulsive or a little bit rash, and sometimes that can lead to damage, or that can lead to anger, or it can lead to accidents or being accident prone. So they are having me mention that, even though we're looking specifically at soul gifts here. Now we're getting into the interesting stuff. For me, I'm curious to see how this plays out. Your soul development being the Magician in reverse. Okay, so especially since your soul gifts are the Knight of Wands, this does tell me that you're able to direct energy fairly efficiently. But with the Magician in reverse here, regarding your soul development, I feel as though you've actually had a hard time trusting your ability to manifest and create your reality. Probably because you experienced a lot of loss. And so at soul level, you're going, well, I'm not enjoying this, so why would I manifest that? And so it can feel either as though the universe is against you, or as though you're not able to trust yourself to create the reality that you really desire, and that's going to feel more healthy. But when we get to your current phase, we have the beautiful, wonderful 10 of Cups. I mean, just look at this card. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's all about the fulfillment of a safe home, a happy family, the emotional security that comes with all of those things. So I really do see that even though you've struggled with manifesting, you've struggled with loss, you've struggled with some of these things, or maybe controlling your energy and directing it, efficiently or maturely, or even just intentionally, we do see that the current phase that you're in is much more stable, and you're recovering, is what I just heard. You're recovering from some of this loss and grief and pain and suffering and trauma, basically. And you're rediscovering how you can control some of these things and shape your reality so that you can create something more beautiful for yourself, knowing that with a little bit of dedication and hard work, if you actually focus on what you want to build, it will come to fruition. Because they're showing me two things here in this card. They're showing me the stitch work that this woman is doing, and they're also showing me the bumblebees. Let me see if you can see that. Sorry. So what this tells me is that the stitch work is kind of looking as though she's putting her hand into something, right? Like she's using a skill to create something that wasn't there before. She's taking a blank canvas and she's making a design onto it. And this is kind of what I'm seeing you doing or learning to do at soul level. The bee, as you can see, I love bees, is all about hard work, the capacity to remain high vibrational and loving and healing through the process of being busy and doing a lot of work and putting in a lot of effort. So I feel as though this is kind of the current phase you're in, and this is the learning journey that you're doing in this lifetime to help you to kind of heal and rebuild or just build from what happened in those past lives. Now, your spiritual mission, very interesting here with the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is about heartbreak, loss, and because you have the Five of Cups, we already kind of know that that's the case. But I feel as though, especially this coming up in the spiritual mission category, this is really about your soul taking on a lot of these very heart-centered wounds. So this could be deaths of loved ones in past lives. This could be heartbreak or betrayal in relationships romantically. This could even be trauma to do with your family members and friends. So it's themes like that your soul has, for whatever reason, taken on. And I do want to get more information on that when we get into the oracle cards as well. But yeah, it looks like your spiritual mission in the overarching sense is really to heal your heart, especially since your current phase is the Ten of Cups. It's about healing from this grief and this sorrow and understanding that you can pull those swords out of your heart and create a more loving, reciprocal, healthy, safe environment for yourself and your loved ones. And even if that's just internal, because sometimes we can't control what happens outside of us entirely. Yes, we can manifest. Yes, we can influence our reality, but we're always co-creating. And so having this understanding at soul level, I think I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but they're showing me the Strength card reversed. It's trusting that inner strength that we have to be able to handle whatever comes up when we are in alignment with ourselves, when we are spiritually and emotionally balanced. And the Strength card can also represent grace, which is being able to understand that there is a natural order to the universe and that death is not actually real. It's an illusion because our souls are infinite, eternal, immortal. So yes, we do experience physical death, but the physical experience itself is in a lot of ways an illusion. Okay, so next you have current alignment with your mission. Five of Swords, challenging energy, okay? And you've got the three of Swords and the Five of Swords right next to each other. So this is, yeah, your mission is a challenge and your current alignment with that mission is also being challenged. So I do feel as though your current alignment with your spiritual mission to heal your heart and to recover from some of this betrayal or pain or loss or grief is, you may be struggling with that. You may be coming up against resistance from other people, or you may be resisting it yourself. Because the Five of Swords here is making me feel as though you're feeling as though, you know what, there's actually two groups of you here that I'm seeing for the Five of Swords. Some of you are resisting it and there's an egoic attachment to avoiding that pain, and that's making it hard to align to that mission because it's like you have to feel that pain once more to be able to heal it, to process it, and to release it. But the other group is feeling a little bit more triumphant. So you're willing to look at it. You have looked at it. You've checked your ego and you've kind of made it so that you were able to see what was going on and to start pulling those swords out, and you're actually holding them up, right? It's like all of the pain that you've been through in the past is now being conquered, and you've pulled the swords out of the heart. And you're holding one up saying, you know, I've discovered the truth. I know what I needed to do and I've done it. So for some of you, you may be resisting or struggling with this part of the mission or this part of your soul's kind of overall chosen trajectory. But for some of you, you actually are doing what you need to be doing, and you're pulling those swords out and you're healing yourself, and you're saying, you know what, I can handle this. I can go forward. Now, we also have the current development and lessons. So the current development, the lessons, the healing that you're currently going through, the Strength card reversed. Okay, so the Strength card reversed challenges our strength, it challenges our courage, and it very much challenges our resilience. So I do see that the current development stage you're in is really cultivating and growing that internal strength and resilience. So you might have those things be tested outside of you, like things changing or things continuing to fall away and you needing to release and let go on a consistent basis. But the Strength card reversed here is indicating that your soul is regenerating, is what I just heard, which is not something I usually get from the Strength card, but I think that is something that makes sense, right? Because strength is not always just something existing in a static state. It's the regeneration process that makes something very strong. Yeah, it's the capacity to recover. It's the capacity to heal. Oh, okay, I see. Thank you, Spirit. I love doing these readings because I learn as much as I teach, because the way that I receive the messages is not sometimes things that I've ever thought of, and I have to kind of interpret it on the fly, and then I learn through doing this work. So I want to say thank you to you and thank you to Spirit for helping me to learn, so that we can grow together. All right, so your current development looking good, guys. Continue to heal, continue to build up that resilience and that inner strength. You're doing a wonderful job at recovering and healing your heart. I do see a lot of you really stepping into that level of courage, because it does take courage to face your traumas. It does take courage to heal your heart, especially when it's been through things like 5 of Cups and 3 of Swords energy. It's challenging, and not all of that is probably focused entirely in your past lives. You've probably been through some of that in this life too, but I do see that you're really focusing hard on creating the opposite end of that spectrum with the 10 of Cups. Beautiful, healed energy. Now, the future trajectory and timeline being the 5 of Wands. Now, anytime that we're talking about future trajectories or timelines, it's always malleable. And the only reason that Spirit will ever actually give you an indication of what is to come on a timeline is either to encourage you towards it or to dissuade you from it. And if telling you about it to dissuade you would actually cause you to create it, then they won't tell you at all. So Spirit's very crafty in that sense, where they have to be really wise about what kind of information they bring through and factor in your own given free will and what they know about you energetically, or rather what you know about you, because you are Spirit. You are the universe, you are Source. So it's really you providing all of this for yourself. But the 5 of Wands here with the future trajectory is just feeling like you are, I'm seeing it like you're learning to defend yourself. Now it's almost giving me a little bit of a 7 of Wands energy, which is like boundaries and self-defense and standing up for what you believe in, being assertive, standing your ground. I'm seeing that here, but instead of the 7 of Wands is one figure standing on a hilltop with many wands coming up against them. Whereas in the 5 of Wands here, it's like there's multiple people who all have their own wands. And that is kind of what's leading me to believe that there's multiple factors in this. It's not just like a bunch of people against you and you need to assert your boundaries. It's like there's a whole bunch of different factors going on here. There's many different people with many different wants and needs, and they're kind of challenging you. But I do see you in this future trajectory really standing up for your boundaries and asserting your own defenses. It's like, you know what, I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to allow that. I am going to block that off. And I just see you again with that Knight of Wands energy being very easily able to pivot and defend yourself on this front and then turn and defend yourself on that front. And it's like you're able to kind of take on multiple opponents at the same time, which really indicates skill to me. Like what they're showing me in my mind is like an action movie with like the main hero being attacked from all sides by multiple people, and he's got his sword and he's just like cha cha cha, and he's really easily able to parry and like handle it all. And then you're like, wow, this person's so skilled. look at all that they were able to do with just, themselves, and they were up against so many. So it's giving me, oh, now they're showing me 300, like the movie 300, the Spartans. So like highly trained, very skilled warriors, able to defend strategically, and especially being up against such more massive numbers. It's like you're at the disadvantage in terms of numbers, but because your skill is higher, it equals out, or if anything, you end up being the one who wins. Wow. And then they're also showing me that the next card to the Five of Wands is the Six of Wands. And I heard in my head the line from Aladdin, "Hail the conquering hero." So it's na 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 na. So it's like you're able to go from the Five of Wands where you're battling to the Six of Wands where you're like, okay, you came home successful. You were able to conquer all of these things. So this future trajectory, yes, it's going to challenge you, but I think that you've developed enough strength, or that you will have developed enough strength by that time to really handle it well and be successful. You're very much on a hero's journey, group number 3. I see that like big time, and especially to do with the heart. And they're also reminding me that the symbol you chose is the symbol of the radiant heart. That's the image that led you to this reading. And especially with the Three of Swords here, I didn't even put that together. And then they remind me, they're like, hey, remember, this is that group. And oh yeah, okay, now that makes sense as well. So you're like a warrior of the heart. Now, the potential outcome of your soul journey, the destination, the state of being, the mission status at the end of this. And that's not just talking about this lifetime. It may be talking about overall as well. You have the Two of Pentacles. There's a couple of things I'm seeing here in this card. Number one is balance. Obviously, the Two of Pentacles is all about kind of juggling things and finding a way to have things be more equal or balance out. But I'm also seeing the ship, the moon, the dolphin. I'm also seeing like almost like a rainbow between his hands. So all of these factors are kind of jumping out at me right at once. And whenever that happens, it's almost like there's a lot going on energetically in this outcome, or this potential outcome of this soul journey. And a lot of it is to do with transportation. It's like you're moving further into your sensitivity, you're moving further into your subconscious mind, you're coming into a state of reconnection with your I just heard your joy. The dolphin is bringing joy, and the Ten of Cups is also about joy. So you're reconnecting with your joy. You're finding balance in the physical realm and understanding then how to move out of pain, because the ship in the background is giving me like Six of Swords energy. So you're moving out of stress and pain and into joy. And so that's what this potential outcome of the soul journey really looks like for you. And that's what it's trying to bring you into, is really creating balance so that you can have that harmony that allows you to feel grounded, equilibrium, that brings a sense of joy. Yeah. All right. So now let's get some more information using the Oracle decks. So we're going to start with this one. Oh, okay. And this one as well. No, sorry. It's the one on the top. Okay, thank you. Oops. Okay. I just want to fix these cards really quickly. Okay, so they want me to start from the bottom. So you have Rest, Archangel Remiel, and Aragonite. So this really feels to me like, obviously, rest, but it's, again, I'm getting the energy of recovery. And that's what we were seeing there in the Ten of Cups as well. So there's this recovery that's going on for you, and you are able to rest and heal your heart. And through that, you're able to reconnect to your joy and your ability to manifest, and your own inner resilience and regeneration capabilities that give you that strength to take on any challenge that comes your way. And in fact, to see that as a blessing, because you're able to really witness and to observe your skill. Okay. daring rebirth. Oh, I love this for you. And that's what I was getting here from the strength card. It's like your regeneration is that daring rebirth that you're going through. And it's so interesting to me that in this reading, I'm noticing that a lot of the cards that we're talking about here are bringing up other cards, which normally doesn't happen. Actually, I don't think that's ever happened before. Like, I've never looked at the 5 of Wands and then seen the 6 of Wands. And I was looking at the Strength card, and with the Daring Rebirth here, it was giving me that regeneration of the Death card. And the 2 of Wands the 2 of Pentacles made me think of the 6 of Swords. So it's like these 3 cards here that you have, it's almost as though there's multiple different energies, and they're trying to use one card to represent many different things, and especially about progression, because all of those, the 6 of Wands, the 6 of Swords, and the Death card are all about that progression. Fascinating. Okay. You also have Melt into Divine Desire. I like this. This is really you in that Knight of Wands energy. It's like you know what you're passionate about. You're able to follow that. You are connected to your divine sensuality and your creative capacity. You are moving forward with haste, but also with groundedness. Yeah. Ooh, okay. And power. Beautiful. Oh, I love this for you. So you have the power to heal this 3 of Swords energy in regard to your spiritual mission. Like, there's so much power within you. There's so much strength that you're developing, group number 3. And I see that in a really powerful way. Obviously, we've got the power card. Let me just quickly reposition these cards because it's going to bug me. There we go. Yeah, it's hard for me to see all of the cards because my tripod kind of blocks off half the reading. So I have to kind of reposition things and then take a look from the sky view and then etc. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's take a look at the next deck. What else does group number 3 need to know about, I feel this one, about their spiritual journey? And I'm hearing overall spiritual journey. So they want us to look at, with these cards, at the overall journey, not just the one in this lifetime or where you're at in this lifetime. Okay. Okay, we're getting lots of cards here. You have Horus. You are seeing the situation accurately. Okay. You have Osiris, father, husband, brother, son. Okay. Wow. You have Isis, balance, career, and home life. I was going to say something and then I was like, I'll just wait. These are all Egyptian. So you may have had some pretty significant Egyptian past lives. Oops, sorry. And health and healing, Hilarion. Yeah, so a major part of your spiritual journey here is to heal yourself. It is to be able to understand your heart and what that can do, because the radiant heart that you have is very, very sensitive, is what I'm feeling. And so because of that, you've questioned your sensitivity because you're seeing it in some of those past lives as a weakness, because it was what created that deep sense of grief and sorrow and loss and pain. But on the upside, it is your capacity also to heal and regenerate not only yourself, but also others as well. So some of you may be called to healing, and there could be some healing to do with the masculine. So masculine energy, and that doesn't necessarily apply to a person or even to a male. It's more just the polarity or that frequency within you. And I do see that some of this may be some of the healing may be directly related to a father, a husband, a brother, or a son. So again, working with that masculine archetype, but possibly also from an external perspective. Balance, career, and home life here. I mean, I speak for myself, my higher self, and my guides when I'm doing these readings. So if I use the royal we, that's what I'm referring to. We do love this Two of Pentacles here, especially with the balance, career and home life, because you are creating the balance of that home life. You are creating the balance within your healing career as a soul, even if that's not traditionally what you do in this lifetime. It is something that you do overall at soul level. You're very much a healer, because your focus is very much on the heart. It's on relationships. It's on your capacity to regenerate. It's on your personal power and your development at the soul level in regard to your emotions and your heart chakra. Okay, now we're going to do something really fun. I got this new little game here, and I think it's actually meant to be a game. So you roll these dice, and then you have to like create a story, or you need to like tell a story of things that it reminds you of. But I'm going to use them for divination. And so what we're going to do is just get these in my hands and shuffle them up. So this is going to be in regard to what to do next in your current lifetime right now. Okay, so the first thing I'm seeing here is the cactus. And the cactus for you guys is making me feel like there's some prickly things, right? It's like barbs, it's pains, it's like those swords in the heart that you're needing to pull out. So you've done a lot of healing, and I do see that you've been almost like bumping into cactuses a lot, you know? It's like you get close to people and then they hurt you, or you reincarnate into a family and it's very abusive or something like that. The cactus is giving me that indication that you've been through a lot, and it's been very sharp. It's been very painful. You have the scissors here as well. These scissors for you are making me feel like you're going through, again, I'm getting that energy of regeneration. So this may be actually changing your haircut, your style. I'm getting it very literal here with the scissors, like doing a physical sort of rebirth, changing your appearance to represent what's happening at the spiritual level. Interesting. And I see the camera here is speaking to me of, it's like seeing yourself over time, because pictures are how we can kind of track progression. It's how we can track changes, because what they're drawing my attention to is actually a thought that I had the other day about my own appearance. And I realized that I have changed significantly in the last, I would say about 3 months, but basically since I started working with my 7D manifesting blueprint, my body has changed, my mind and my heart have changed. Everything has raised its frequency, and I've seen a physical appearance transformation. And I was realizing that I didn't notice that by looking in the mirror so frequently. It's like you don't notice incremental change, but when you look back at old pictures, which I needed to do to clear space in my camera, I noticed that I had changed significantly. I had lost a lot of weight. My skin was different. My hair is different color now. It's like everything is shifting. And so that's what they're showing me here with the camera. For you, group number 3, it's really about you being able to see the changes that are happening incrementally. So comparing to where you used to be, seeing the drastic changes between those two. It's like they're showing me a before and after image in my mind. And if you're not seeing those changes yet, then this is what they're encouraging you to do. It's like create these changes so that you can actually start to see the progression and track your progress. Yes, okay. Now we do have this worry symbol, so there may be some things that you're worried about. It's like you're scared that that pain is going to repeat, that maybe even that the 10 of Cups energy of that love and joy is going to be taken away, because they're also drawing my attention to the s'more. So this to me feels like you're scared that that joy and that pleasure and that s'mores always make me think of family, like going on a camping trip and connecting, and just you're on a vacation, so it's fun, it's enjoyable, everybody's having a good time, and you're enjoying these wonderful, delicious s'mores. I mean, who doesn't love s'mores? If you don't love s'mores, I don't know, we can't be friends. I'm just a chocolate fiend, but yeah. No, I'm just kidding. We can be friends. I love everybody. But I really see this as you kind of like needing to heal that fear of the other shoe dropping, or that fear that that manifestation is going to continue to repeat in a negative sense. Remember, your greatest soul gift is your ability to pivot, and the cat has fallen right onto the Knight of Wands here, and I see cats as being very agile. I'm an agile cat, you know, it's like my cat Kitty. She just jumps all over everything. So you're able to move directions really quickly. Same thing with the cats. Like if you drop them from about a foot or two above the ground, they always twist and are able to land on their feet. So that's what I'm getting from you. It's like you can trust yourself to be able to land on your feet. You can really trust yourself to pivot, to adjust, to move with agility. You're very adaptable. Okay. Now they're drawing my attention to this one, which I couldn't even see what was on it. It's like two little eyes. So it's like you're looking to the future, or you're looking for, okay, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And this is kind of giving me a little bit of hypervigilant type of energy, where you're trying to protect yourself. You're trying to be a little bit more cautious, because in the past, maybe you bumped into these cactuses very blindly and you got hurt significantly because of it. So I think it makes sense to be a little cautious, but not to the extent that you're hypervigilant and preventing yourself from moving forward. That's what I do want to say about that. Yep, the fishing rod. The fishing rod here is making me think of you being able to catch something that's been elusive. So something that once was out of reach, or something that was very slippery and slimy and quick and agile in and of itself. It's like you're able to get it, and you're able to eat. You're able to feed yourself, nourish yourself, get that nutrition from something that was very seemingly elusive. And that's what I'm feeling from actually connected to the Ten of Cups. So it's like you've had a hard time catching that happiness. You've had a hard time, group number 3, feeling safe, feeling as though that joy and that peacefulness and that happiness is going to last. And it will. You're able to catch this. The future is really talking about that. So, and especially since we had that the dice with the eyes on it, it's like you're looking to the future, like, am I going to be able to catch that? Yes, you are. Your current phase is really about that. That's what needs, it's karmic balance, right? If you've been through a lot of suffering and you're a very gentle, loving, nurturing soul, and you have good intentions and you're trying your hardest, well, guess what? You know, as soon as you learn that lesson and you develop that skill, the universe is going to just write things out, and they're going to bring you all of this abundance and healthy relationships and healing and joy and success, because that's the opposite of what you've been experiencing. So there's always got to be balance. Everything needs to be balanced, and it does need to balance out. So if you haven't experienced that yet, you can be sure that it's coming, because it's only a matter of time. Okay, now they're drawing my attention to this picnic table. This is making me think of a feast. Like the table is set and the food hasn't been presented yet, but it's like it's coming. It's coming, that future abundance, that future connection, the feast, the buffet, the gathering of people that comes together and enjoys all of this together is really what I'm feeling from this energy of the picnic table. So this health and healing that you're focusing on right now, it's your greatest power, and it's going to bring you together with people who you love and who love you and who honor and respect you and would never hurt you. So I do see that there's a lot of laughter and love and joy to come. Like you're sitting around and eating and drinking and being merry and laughing and just connecting and loving one another. I love that for you, group number 3. The cow here is making me think of domesticity. So again, it's like the house, the home, your family, your friends. You know, it's very domestic. It's very calm, serene, gentle. It's like that gentle giant. I mean, cows are big. If you've ever like stood next to a cow, they're big. I mean, I'm a small person, but still, they got some weight to them, and they're very gentle and serene and docile. But if you mess with them, they're scary. So like you've got power here, even though you're very gentle and loving and peaceful. And that's what you desire. It's like you just want to have that happy life where everything's calm and you feel safe in your home and with your family and friends, and you have these healthy relationships and you're able to heal yourself. Like, and you're doing that. Group number 3, you are doing that. I see it. I feel it. Your soul is communicating this to me. So really, take heart in that. Literally take heart. You beautiful, radiant heart, you. And you have the lightning bolt as well. So the lightning bolt here, I'm feeling an activation, actually, an activation of your energy. So you may actually be going through some kind of a healing. Ooh, I just heard healing crisis. Okay, don't worry. It's actually going to be okay. A healing crisis can sometimes happen because it's like all of the energy that came before just sort of builds and builds and builds. And then there's a breaking point. And that breaking point is good because it's allowing that healing to happen, or it's allowing all of that energy to be released or to be removed. And then your regeneration really happens. So if you are going through or experiencing a healing crisis, it's actually going to be so good for you because it's going to provide you with all of this joy and connection and support that you've really been desiring over all of these lifetimes that you've lived. I also do feel like this could be a healing activation. So you might actually be going for or doing some perhaps Reiki or quantum healing or some kind of energy work. Because when I'm a Reiki master and I'm an energy healer and a psychic reader, obviously. But when I do activations for people, sometimes it actually does look like a lightning bolt or like sometimes it's like a shaft of light or whatever it happens to be. But that activation, that surge of energy, really, it charges you up and it helps you to expand your consciousness. It helps you raise your frequency and it helps you to heal some things. If there are physical things that you're working on healing here, that can also help too, right? Doing an activation and getting the energy flowing effectively can help you to physically heal. The reason I say that is because, two things. Hilarion is making me think both of emotional healing, but also physical healing. And then Osiris was dismembered by, I think it was Seth, who was his brother, was jealous or something like that. And so he dismembered him and he scattered the parts all over so that he would be dead, even though he's an immortal. But I can't remember who it was. Was it Ma'at or was it Nut? No, it wasn't Nut. I should know my Egyptian history. I had several Egyptian past lives, but my human self forgets. Although I did have Anubis come to me in the shower the other day, but that's not relevant to this reading. Or maybe it is. Oh, thank you. It is, because Anubis is all about death and rebirth. So this is a transformation. It's regeneration, again, because that's what death and rebirth is. It's regeneration. You're really going from one state into another and regenerating yourself from what was to what is. So anyway, that's also what I'm seeing here with Osiris. It's like you're taking the parts that have been kind of scattered around by somebody else or some other people along the way, and you're bringing yourself back together. You're doing this healing. You're regenerating and remembering, quite literally remembering yourself, bringing all of those body parts back together. And for some of you, this may even involve soul retrieval. Yeah, if you went through some pretty significant traumatic things in those past lives, sometimes what I see is that in Akashic readings, sometimes I'll see something called soul loss, and then we need to do soul retrieval. And so soul loss occurs when we quite literally cut off a part of our soul because it holds that blueprint of the karma that keeps attracting that painful situation. But it's not the best way to deal. It's actually the worst way to deal with it, because instead of solving the problem, it's an act of disempowerment and self-victimization. So you continue to attract negative things, even if it's not quite that same archetypal blueprint of what the original karma was, but it significantly depletes your energy. It puts you at a disadvantage. It makes it very hard for you to manifest, which actually makes sense now that I think about it, because you do have the magician in reverse. So some of you may have soul loss and you need to retrieve those fragments and literally remember yourself. because not only is that a huge drain on your vital force energy to have a chunk of your soul missing, but it's also really hard for you to embody your divinity because you're literally missing a part of your divine self. So quite literally being dismembered at soul level and needing to pull that back together. So there's actually a clearing protocol that I have for that. If you need that, if you feel like this is you that I'm talking to, then book an Akashic reading with me. It's the soul realignment readings on my website, linked in the description box below. Anyway, I also see that you're seeing the situation accurately. So you may also be very, very intuitive, psychic, and clairvoyant, because they are drawing my attention to the third eye here too on Hilarion. So there's a lot of wisdom that you have within you. There's a lot of capacity to see beyond the veil. That lightning striking is information as well. It's like that divine spark of information or download that comes in to help you to see something more clearly or to tap into your power. Yeah. You're seeing something very clearly. As soon as you start to step into your power, or if you've already started to do this, you're seeing the whole thing and all of this like story arc of your soul much more clearly. And then you're better able to handle what needs to be handled and to do what needs to be done. Oof, love that for you, group number 3. So that is what I see for you. This has been a really, powerful reading and very, very interesting. I'm really glad that Spirit inspired me to do these readings and to purchase these cute little dice. I'm having so much fun with it. So I hope that you had fun here as well, even though we're talking about some serious stuff, I know, but it's still, it's important that we bring joy to that's the dolphin and the 10 of Cups energies. Bring some joy to these things and do them together as a community so that you don't feel quite so... I just heard the word beleaguered. What does that even mean? Beleaguered? Is that a word? I'm going to have to look that up after. Anyway, sending you so much love, group number 3, to heal and regenerate and empower yourself and manifest the truly balanced, healthy, loving, safe home and relationships that you truly deserve and desire. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the reading or you resonated, please like the video. Let me know. I love to see those little likes, and comment below. Tell me your story. How does this resonate? What's going on? And if you need one-on-one support, like I said, you can reach me through my website and book one of the many transformative soul services that I provide. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you in the next reading. Bye.